All right. Let's just say I'm so glad this show is over. Part of me wants a second season because Chimere is super interesting, and his connection to Vernestra would be a great cat and mouse thing. The rest drives me nuts. So, we start off with right after Sol had told May his story. And Osha, instead of seeing and hearing May and Sol talking, she sees the future where May kills Sol, even though, but without the lightsaber, even though she's holding it. So now we know that even Osha and May cannot tell each other apart. But considering we found out that they're actually the same person, I guess it's not that surprising. So Chimere and Osha are going to race to see who finds May first. Sol is just a happy happenstance if they find him. They're looking for May. So May is trying to get out of her bounds. Now, she's yelling at him, accusing him of killing their mother, and he's like, it was an accident. And put a pin in that because that's one of the things that pisses me off about this episode. Well, the whole show, the writing's been like this, but inconsistent. So, she gets out and uses Pip to shock him, which he recovers from incredibly well. I mean, 1 second he's screaming in pain, and then it's like nothing happened. So May manages to escape. And it seems like Sol is trying to put her in the ship's crosshairs. Now, I don't know if he was trying to shoot her down, or if he was just trying to, I don't know if Star Wars has tractor beams, or if that's just specifically Star Trek. But whatever it was, it freaked out Basil. Now, a couple episodes ago, Basil kind of noticed that this is not Osha. That, even though this girl looks like Osha, it's not Osha. All of a sudden, he's concerned about this girl. So he prevents Sol, who looked really, really murderous in his face, from doing whatever he was going to do. Like I said, I don't know if he intended to shoot her down, or if it just intended to bring her back to the ship. Not a clue. But Basil stopped him, and not only that, but Sol crash lands on Brendok. So does May, because whatever Basil did made them both, the big ship lost control, which slammed into the little ship, and they both went tumbling. But before then, Sol turned on his transponder. Now, why he turned it off at all, I assume he just wanted some time to talk to May. But at the same time, what the hell? I fail to see. I mean, you had a head start. It's not like they could have caught up with you. What? Anyway. So, May looks like she, absolutely despises Sol. So, it looks like Osha's vision was truly of May. So then we're playing cat and mouse inside the temple. Saul is looking for May, and he keeps periodically yelling out her name, trying to find her. And so Osha and Chimere are in this twin ship, and Chimere is making comments, so she basically cuts him off and makes it impossible for him to control anything, which I thought was hilarious. And Chimere's just like, what the hell? And so they arrive at Brendok. They arrive at the fortress, and Osha's like, well, the elevator doesn't work unless, we can't get in if the elevator doesn't work. And Chimere somehow disappears and sends a message to Osha, oh, is that right? So Osha, when the way she looked at him, she almost looked triumphant. Like, I'm the Mechanic. You can't get in unless I let you. And then she fixes the elevator so she can get in. Put a pin in that one. And so she finds May right after Chimere finds Saul. And he's like, thanks for leading me right to her. We make a good team. So at this point, I'm thinking, well, maybe I was thinking correctly, which I did not vocalize, that maybe Saul is going to become his acolyte. Because we already determined, we don't know how old Chimere is. Just because the actors, both the actors who play Saul and Chimere are the same age, doesn't mean the characters are supposed to be the same age. So, they fight, and then May is trying to convince Osha that she saw Saul kill their mother. And, so they end up fighting because Osha does not believe May. And, I'm not sure why she doesn't believe her sister. I mean, they're supposed to be like one person. It should be super easy for her to find out, but okay. So they're fighting, and the juxtaposition between Osha and May fighting and Chimere and Saul were awesome. That was actually quite good. I quite enjoyed that. So then, they see Vernestra. Let me back up. So Vernestra heard from Mog that they finally found Saul and he's on Brendok. And Jesus Christ, if Mog doesn't sound like the upper crusty, my shit doesn't stink type person. So I was kind of hoping that he was going to not be a good guy, that he wasn't just a Jedi, but no, that wasn't it either. He's just an ass. So Vernestra says, okay, get my ship ready, get as many knights as you can without it looking suspicious, and we're off. So they land, and as this fight is going on, and before they really manage to do anything, May gets Saul to admit that he killed their mother. And he's explaining everything to both May and then later Osha about that they're not twins, they're not sisters, they're the same person. That they don't know how they did it, but your mother somehow figured out how to create life. But instead of saying that his killing of their mother was an accident, suddenly he's all full of himself and I can't admit that I was wrong by saying that he was doing it for Osha. And if he had said to May if he had said to Osha what he said to May, that it was an accident, this is why I never told you the truth. If he had said that, then I'm sure Osha, as angry as she probably was, might not have killed him. But she did. So, and actually May was the one who, when Chimere was trying to egg her on into killing, all of a sudden she's like, oh no, let's send him to the Jedi High Council and let them deal with him. And it's like, wait a minute, what happened? How did this happen? It's like their personalities just shifted on a dime. It was just the wildest thing. So, Osha, even though she's holding Saul's lightsaber, force chokes him. And actually, you don't see her force choking him at first because her hand is down. But then it's obvious she's force choking him. And he seems to be looking at her and saying, yep, you got me. Okay. It didn't seem to bother him at all. And so then the three of them, May is telling Osha we have to get out of here. And at this point, Chimere has his helmet off. And Osha managed to bleed Saul's lightsaber red, which May is looking at that, and she's like, hey, you did it. You could see that in her face. She's like, hey, you did, and I couldn't ever do that. She seemed to admire Osha for that. And so the girls run away, and Vernestra figures out, it's you. I thought you were dead. And Chimere's like, oops, puts the helmet back on. And I was right, and a lot of other people were right, that he's the former Padawan of Vernestra. Now, we don't know much else about that. We just know that he's a former Padawan. So the girls run off, and we still don't know exactly how May survived, because she still has to survive falling who knows how many stories. But we do know that she had this little tunnel that she used to get to the Banta tree. And so the girls are there, and suddenly, almost immediately, Chimere is there. And he's like, yeah, if I can find you, the Jedi can. And so now Basil has to find the girls. Okay. So even though it took Chimere like 2 seconds to catch up to them, because I have no idea how he moves so fast. But it took, that must be one big ass force, because it took them a good while to find them. And in the meantime, they could have a couple of conversations. Osha agrees that if you let May go, I'll let you train me. And my response is, why can't he take both? I mean, the idea is to get them to escape. It's not like he's creating a harem. He can, or maybe that is what he wanted. Who knows? It's just, help her get away. Maybe find another planet for her to move to. It should be super easy to do. I mean, you could commandeer Saul's ship. It shouldn't be that hard, especially for Osha, who's a freaking mechneck. So, their plan is that, since, as May rightfully pointed out, the Jedi would use her to try to find Osha and Chimere. And so he's like, I could erase her memory permanently. And somehow he erased all 16 years. So are you seriously telling me that the entire 16 years but that they were separated, she was with Chimere? Because how the holy hell did he erase 16 years of her life? So Mog and Basil and the others find May standing there. She's just actually sitting there, and and they're like, you're under arrest, drop any weapons you might have. And she's like, what did I do wrong? And I'm just like, this is going to turn out badly for Osha and Chimere. Because let's face it, it's all about character development. May switched sides on her own. She switched sides because, well, technically she's not on the side of the Jedi, but she absolutely hated the Jedi. And now all that character development is gone, thinking Osha, having lost Osha and regaining her. And now she has no memory of Osha. I suspect if there is a season 2, that she's going to regain her memories. Either Vernestra or Yoda or someone is going to unlock her memories, sort of like what Luke did with oh my god, I'm blanking, with oh my god, Baby Yoda, what is his name? I know this. I love his name. Grogu. Jesus Christ. Anyway, so somebody is going to unlock her memories. First, they have to figure out that there is, because Chimere said he was going to erase her memory, but I wonder if he didn't just block it. So, yeah, that's my prediction if there is a season 2, which, the way things are going, I would highly doubt it, but it's possible. So Osha and Chimere leave. May is taken in by the Jedi, and Vernestra sits down to talk to her, and it's interspersed with her talking with the Senate. So David Harwood is a senator who has an open dislike of the Jedi. And, basically he's like, yeah, you keep your emotions in check. He's like, that's not healthy. I don't trust that, which, fair. So she speaks with the Senate, and she did what was brilliant. This totally explains how the Jedi Council and the Senate didn't know, well, not necessarily said, but that the Jedi Council did not know about the Sith returning, because of this cover story that Vernestra said that Saul just couldn't handle all these years of lying, so he just lost it and killed all his all the other Jedi who were stationed with him on Brendok. And it works out because Saul's dead, so it's not like, I mean, granted, it mucks up his reputation, but nothing more can be done to Saul. He's dead. And, so yeah, that makes sure that doesn't step on the toes of Phantom Menace. And she's talking with May and asking May to help her find an old pupil of hers, which of course is Chimere. I was hoping she would say the name so we would know whether Chimere is using an alias, and that when he said, "I have no name," he was referring to the fact that his Sith master never gave him one, because I can't imagine he's a Sith master, because if he was, then he would have a name. So she wants May's help. Now, I don't know if she senses that what had happened to May. Because, I mean, she sensed what happened on Brendok. She didn't necessarily, I mean, she knew also from what Saul told her, but she does her investigation, so she sensed what had happened previously on Brendok. So I wonder if she senses what happened to May, and that she could possibly get her memories back. So, if there's a season 2, it's going to probably be a cat and mouse game between Vernestra and Chimere, which I'm totally okay with, because in this episode, Vernestra, well, both away missions that she was in made her very interesting. So, but after all that, she says, "Master, we need to talk." And of course it's Yoda. And I'm like, did something not go well with the Senate and that's what she wants to talk to him about? Or is she going to spill the beans about Chimere and what really happened? Because then that would go back to stepping on the toes of Phantom Menace and not seeing the Sith for, what was it, 1,000 years, a millennia, whatever. So, yeah, there were some points in this episode that I really liked, and others that just made no sense whatsoever. It seemed like they were just, nobody cared about what was written before. Let me see if there's anything else that I'm missing from this episode. Like I said, I'm kind of disappointed that Saul died, but you knew that was going to happen. Either he was going to die or he was going to join Chimere. But there was no in between. I really thought that Chimere was going to take on both girls. I mean, he heard Saul. They are the same person. Which technically they're not, because they have different personalities, but whatever. And so, why wouldn't he want to take on both of them? I know about the whole rule of two thing. I get. But, I mean, Kymir claims that his reason for hating the Jedi is because they won't leave him alone and let him practice the Force the way he wants. So, why not just, take May with you? It's just, just say he's not an actual Sith or something. I don't know. It's just, let me see what else is there. I think I've covered everything I wanted to in this episode. I'm trying to think if there's anything I said I was going to talk about and didn't. Let's see. I think I covered everything. So, with that, I will see you guys in the next episode.